Hey there, I'm Lisa Niven Kelly for Beaducation.com.
And I'm Mel McCabe with Beaducation.com.
We just shot this great class over on Facebook Live, our Beaducation Live show, but we've edited it and archived it here for you to watch.
If you hear us answering customer questions or talking to customers, you can just ignore that. That was just stuff that was in the moment when we shot the class, but there's still so much great content here.
Yeah, but if you have questions while you're watching this archive, go ahead and leave a comment below if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching through our site, just toss us an email at classes@beaducation.com.
And we'll get back to you with an answer.
Yeah, let's get into the video. Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's Beaducation Live here on our Beaducation Facebook page. If you are new here, I'm Lisa Niven Kelly. I'm the CEO here of Beaducation. And who the heck are you?
I'm Mel McCabe, product manager here at Beaducation.
And this is my boyfriend. We're dating. He doesn't talk much, but that's okay. Oh, what's happening over here?
All he likes to do is just stamp, 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 stamp.
We need to be playing JT while we're talking. All right, so today we are talking about metal sealants. We get a lot of questions about this, and there's a variety of products out there in the world that can seal your metal. So let me back up a little bit. What happens here is, let's use, for instance, copper. Copper oxidizes really quick. So that's the metal reacting to the oxidation in the air, the oxygen in the air, and it starts to tarnish, and it gets all black and gunky and all that. Copper happens really fast. So there's different products that you can seal the metal with to keep, it acts as a barrier between the metal and the elements, right? So all of this stuff is just a layer that you're putting on top. Some of it sticks better, some of it sticks worse, but look at it as, some are called sealants, but really you're just putting a barrier there. Nothing is permanent. So I just want to start out by saying that this is not going to solve it forever. If you put a sealant on and somebody wears it and rubs against their skin like a ton, or they shower in soap in it, that sealant is going to start to wear off. But it's not a horrible idea. I just want to be really, really clear.
And it's something, usually the products that you buy, you can reapply, like clean and then reapply. I also think for all the people who are thinking, I love the way copper looks when it tarnishes, or I love the green tone, or I like that kind of look. A lot of people, which was evidenced by our general manager, Claudia, here, whenever she would wear copper, you just have a horrible reaction to that, or nickel. You can seal just the backside of something so that it won't bother you, and then you can still have the regular kind of steampunk look of so it's not shiny on the other side.
Yeah, I think the trouble that people run into is if you're selling your jewelry and you seal it and then you sell it to a customer, and then after a while it kind of wears off and they don't know how to seal it, that's where you kind of run into trouble. So while we're going to show you these sealants, we also just want to encourage you to learn how to properly polish your stuff and then educate your customer on how they can polish it. You wanted to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, should I tell them right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I do love that, is that lots of folks will say, oh gosh, I gave him this pendant and it tarnished right away. And I'll say, well, was it sterling? Was it copper? I mean, pretty much anything other than aluminum is going to tarnish. And I love the idea of, you guys take the Pro Polish pads, which this is just 1/4. I was going to show them the large one too. These guys we sell in a pack of 10. Cut them into 4, put them in a little baggie, and then just give them one of these, or mail them one of these, and then just have a little note that just says polished up whenever it becomes tarnished, because it's real copper, it's real sterling, so you'll need to polish it. Yeah. And I think I live by the ocean, and my stuff will turn, as Lisa will show you in a little bit, within a day. It's tarnished.
It's crazy.
So it's like, teach them how to just polish it up, and then they can wear it either way.
You had broken down the price on that.
Oh, yes.
Cut it in a quarter.
You guys, to cut this in a quarter, it's 9 cents each. So, I mean, that's just 9 cents and you're showing them that they can polish it themselves. Like, you're not going to break the bank on that, which I love.
If you're going to give them a Pro Polish pad like that, though, which I love this idea, make sure you give them instructions, because a Pro Polish pad cannot get wet.
That's a good point.
It's really gunky.
That's a very good point. The other thing that I don't think a lot of people know about are the anti-tarnish tabs. And these, I think we sell in a pack of 50. One of them ends up being 10 cents each. And these are great even if you're not selling your jewelry, just to go ahead and keep, if you feel like you're always polishing something. something, you can throw one of these in, seal it up with your piece, and put it in your jewelry box, and it won't tarnish as quickly. In fact, we put these in our little bins in the warehouse with a lot of our sterling so that they won't tarnish as quickly too.
Yeah, if it's sealed, it's better. I mean, we have open drawers, it helps a little bit, but if, like she said, zip it. Okay, so these are the products that we are talking about, and I want to go through one at a time, and then I'll show you some little samples that we did. This is a vintage glaze that we actually aren't carrying anymore. We have a couple left. It's going to be on closeout in a week or two because it works best with the vintage patinas, which we're not carrying anymore. So it doesn't work great with oxidizing or moxidizing your metal with things like Sharpie, Gilder's Place, all that. I haven't had a lot of success with it, and I've gotten some feedback from customers. They don't love it. So this guy, it exists, but we don't recommend it much anymore, so we're closing it out.
But if you did get any patina, or if you have any patina that you want
it's
sealed.
it's more of a patina extender, and it seals well when there's patina under it. So since we don't carry those supporting products, we're not going to be mentioning that anymore. This is a spray on enamel, crystal clear enamel by Rust-Oleum, and this is just from Home Depot. I don't know if they have this like at craft stores. You'll find other spray options at craft stores. But I wanted to get something that I think is probably available to everybody. Everyone's got a hardware store nearby or within an hour drive maybe. So I'll show you the results with this. But this and this product are similar in that they are both spray on. So just like spray paint or anything, any sort of coating, the instructions are on here. You spray a light amount. I would let it dry, then do another. If you're doing multiple coats with any of this, let it dry before adding a second coat. And it all depends which product you're using on how long it will dry. So make sure you look at all of the instructions that come with everything.
I'd wear a mask too, you guys, when you spray. I know I used to be the spray painting queen, and I wouldn't. And then I'd notice later on that evening with a color, I'd have nose hairs that were blue or turquoise. So if for only that reason to not have sticky nose hairs.
Smurf nose hairs.
But even more so probably not to be inhaling those fumes, right?
Really good point. And that's probably the same with any of these. Even though these don't get airborne, they do have quite a smell to them. Mm-hmm. Not so much this one, but make sure you do this outside. Make sure you wear a mask. I love that idea, Mel. Thanks. This guy is a lot like spray paint. You shake it, you do it, blah, blah, blah. This guy's similar, but you don't shake it, which I just naturally shook it. You know, it's like you automatically pick it up and shake it. And then I read, and it's like, do not shake can in red.
Isn't that funny?
It still worked, but you don't need to shake this. Maybe, Lisa, read the instructions before you assume you know how it works. So this is from Home Depot. And probably anywhere else. This is a really well-known product. This guy here is called Protect-A-Clear, and it's from a company, I think it's called Everbright, and Angela's got a link to put it up on the site for you. I haven't seen this for sale anywhere else. We aren't able to resell it, so I don't mind just sending you straight to these people's site. But this is made specifically for jewelry, which I love. And what I did is I went on their site and I bought this kit. It came with the dip, or you can either dip it or brush it on, and it came with the spray. It came with really, really awesome instructions and gloves and a little brush. So I think all said with shipping and tax is like $48 or something. So not bad. I'm sure these two are going to last a lifetime. Mm-hmm. And this is, again, made specifically for metal. I mean, I said jewelry, but I think it's really for metal. So their instructions and everything are very specific to jewelry.
That means you could still use it on your armor, too.
Sure, yeah, on your chainmail.
Yeah.
If you have experience with any of these, I want to say before we move on, can you please leave a comment? Because what I'm hoping that this episode ends up as is really a discussion with the community. We've tested these and we use them, but I want to hear from you guys that use them a ton. You probably use it way more than us, and I'd love to hear like, ooh, I love Run Wax, I love Jewelry Shield, or I'm new to this Protect-A-Clear, or whatever. We'd
or
love
if
to
you
hear
have something else that we don't know about too.
Oh yeah, these are just scratching the surface. You know, this is just some things that we have experience with. And I was just notified by a customer that there's a new product coming out that's made specifically for jewelry that's a spray. We may be able to carry that, so check in later. So that's this guy. Very detailed instructions come with it, as well as on the bottle. You can see all that blah blah. Read the instructions, people. And then Jewelry Shield is an oldie but goodie. This has been around for a long time. As you can see, it's very similar to a nail polish. I don't know the chemical makeup, but it very well could be nail polish. You know what I mean?
It feels when you put it on a little bit thinner than nail polish.
Right,
I've noticed.
yeah. And I have had people I used to use nail polish to seal things, really high quality clear nail polish. It's another option. So again, instructions are on here. You brush it on. I would let it dry, and you can do up to about 3 coats. This and this, before I get into Ren Wax, if you click on the product, which we will have a link up if it's not up already, there are videos with each. I think Kate does a video with each one of these. I think she does an excellent English accent in this one. So this is Ren Wax. We'll move on to that. So with Ren Wax, this was made by the Museum of Britain, the British Museum, and it's made to coat like furniture and metal and things like that, and it does a really, really nice job. This you want to apply with a soft cloth and rub it on, let it dry for a little bit, and then buff off the excess because it kind of goes on kind of splotchy. Let it dry and add another coat if you want. This is really strong smelling, like gasoline.
I kind of like it, but I can see where some people wouldn't.
I love it. It's bad. We're just
a little like shoe polish. It's a good one.
Don't be sniffing the Ren Wax because we're gonna need a support group.
We had gotten a couple of questions where people wanted to know about dry times on the variety of them,
And it's different for every single one of them.
and it'll say it on the packaging. Okay.
Yeah, or I mean, if it doesn't, you're gonna have to go by feel. So if you're concerned, give it a day. And then
Nope,
do
that
it
makes
again,
sense.
you know?
Yes, yeah.
But some of these are pretty quick. I think this one's really, really quick.
A couple people had said that they had tried the Protect-A-Clear and that it worked well.
They love it. Yeah, this says dries to touch in 5 to 10 minutes. So that's pretty quick.
I always figure go a little longer than they say, right? Just to be
Which
sure.
one's the 5 to 10 minutes? I'm sorry.
Protect-A-Clear.
Protect-A-Clear.
That's what it
Okay,
says.
I have a couple comments from the
Jewelry
Protect-A-Clear.
Shield says let dry for 20 minutes. Hang on one second, Claudia.
Yeah.
And Ren Wax says dries hard instantly.
Instantly.
I wouldn't go with instantly. I'd give it I'd give it at least a couple of minutes, and then the Rust-Oleum. Geez, I'm gonna need my glasses for this one.
Oh, I have them. You want me to look?
I don't know. Dry
In 15
recoat
minutes.
time. Dries to touch in 15 minutes. To
So
handle
all of
in 30 minutes. So this one might be the longest. And again, it also depends on if you accidentally did a thicker coat, then it recommends. So with the sprays, read the instructions on how far away from the piece you should hold the can, because if you're too close, you're going to get a really thick layer. And then with these guys, they're pretty straightforward on application. Okay, did you say you had another question?
No, it's just recommendations on the Protect-A-Clear. One of our customers uses it pretty regularly. She says to wait a minimum of 24 hours before you wear it, or
So here are some circles that we tested these 4 products with. And I did this, I gave it to you on Monday, right, Mel? So Mel brought this to her house in Half Moon Bay on Monday. So it's been 3 days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. 3.5 days.
And it kind of even looked that way, I'd say, after one night,
That's
too.
crazy.
That's how
So
fast it happened.
What I did was stamped the name of the product I used. These are all filled in with industrial Sharpie. I put some tape here and applied the product, and then I left this part raw so we had something to compare it to, right? Because then how would you even know? And you can see that, whoa, if you want some rad oxidized copper, go hang out with Mel for a couple days, because that is so cool. So all of them worked really, really well. Let's go one by one. Here's the Rust-Oleum.
Looks great, huh?
Yeah, it looks really nice. And here's the Ren Wax. This down here hasn't oxidized as much. Maybe I don't know, maybe some of the sticky is on there, but it seems to be starting to oxidize. I wouldn't say that has anything to do with the Ren Wax.
Right.
But the Ren Wax is holding up great. Here's a Protect-A-Clear. I use the spray. Try not to get too much shine there or reflection. Protect-A-Clear. So that's holding up. And the Jewelry Shield, same. One thing that a lot of these products, especially the Protect-A-Clear, points out is that after you have stamped your jewelry, put whatever in you're going to put in. And all of these held, I also tested them against Gilder's Paste, Industrial Sharpie, and the enamel pen. And they didn't pull the black out. That's what started to happen with the glaze. It sort of pulled the black out and then spread it, so it got really, really messy. They all held really, really good. So what you want to do is, let's say you were stamping this beautiful pendant that says Protect Clear, and then you put in Sharpie or enamel pen or whatever. Make sure that that completely cures and dries, and those have their own curing time. You know, a pen will seem dry after just a couple minutes, but I would let it really, really sit for like an hour or two. Same for sure with the enamel pen. I think it says it's totally cured after a day. At Gilder's Paste as well. Maybe not a day with the enamel pen, I'm not quite remembering, but if these are still wet or something and you go to coat them, it will smear.
Oh, I've had that happen before too.
Yeah, because you're impatient like me.
Well, and also we had gotten a question, is the Pro Sharpie the same as the Industrial Sharpie? Which I don't know, Pro Sharpie, I don't know if it's just regular Sharpie, but the Industrial Sharpie has red writing on it that says that it's industrial. I have accidentally used the regular Sharpie and it has bled, like it's very different than the industrial. So if your Sharpie has red writing on it that says Industrial Sharpie, that's the correct one.
And I've tested both of them. I think I mentioned this last week on a ring, and the Industrial Sharpie lasted really well, and the regular Sharpie was gone like by 2 days, just pulled right out.
I even noticed just when I write my kid's name on the Tupperware and I run it through the wash, when I use a regular Sharpie, it's out immediately. When I do the industrial, it lasts for like 3 months.
So it's got something exciting in there.
Yeah.
So make sure that, again, you have the black, whatever product you use to make the black inside of the stamped impressions is dry. And from there, you want to make sure that you wash them really, really, really well. And the Protect Clear really talks about that in their instructions, where let's say you polish this with a Pro Polish pad or a polish cloth, it's going to leave a little bit of polishing stuff on there, even dust, and that will get between the metal and the spray barrier, and it will keep it from really, really adhering. So it recommends washing it with it's saying that some polishing compounds have acid in it, so totally neutralize it with I wouldn't worry that your Pro Polish pad's going to tear up your hands or your piece with acid, but I think it's the same concept of it's leaving a little bit of dust, so wash it off with like baking soda and water or something, let it air dry or dry it really, really well before applying any of these solutions, because that could get in the way. What I did was I cleaned this with steel wool. So steel wool brought it back to like raw copper. It was very clean. I wiped it off, made sure there was no like steel wool dust particles, and I hadn't used a Pro Polish pad. So then I went ahead and put the stuff on from there.
I also want to let you guys know, I don't know if we mentioned it, but with the copper that you saw that had changed in just a few days at my house, that's because I live right at the ocean. But copper, typically, unless you live at a seaside town, it will not change that quickly, which is another reason to test out your stuff. Because if you're selling your jewelry locally, you might not have as big of a problem, and the tarnish tabs with a little bit of literature might be the way to go.
And the people who live at the ocean should be used to it, I imagine.
True.
I have a copper cuff I was just looking at on my desk that's been there for a couple months, and it's like lightly tarnished. Lightly, like I could probably brush it off with my hand. And our office, we live here, is like, I can see the bay. It's like 300 yards that way, but it's not the ocean where, it's like waves are breaking and salt's in the air and stuff doesn't really oxidize here. But at Mel's house it does. If you live inland, it's going to be less. So there's all these factors, and we just want to give you as much information as we can, and you can build with it what works for you. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Bye.